Hey everyone, something a little different for you today. We're going to take the instant reaction that includes me and Phil and Paul and Clive from the Emirates and put it out as the main pod today because it was funny. We watched the Liverpool game together, the Chelsea game together. We talked headline, stock rising, stock falling. Clive gave us halftime and full-time thoughts. So I think it's a really good pod. You'll really enjoy it. There's a main pod, so to speak, with me, Tim, and Clive over on the Patreon if you want to go check that out there. But hope you enjoy this. Just a fun way to mix it up with so many games coming thick and fast. So enjoy it. And here is the instant reaction as your pod for the Brentford game. Maybe the only way they're going to find to beat us is if we forfeit due to not having enough players. But that could happen. This is the ArsenalVision Post-Match Podcast. My name's Elliot. On Twitter, Yankener. Hello, patrons. Love you for being here. And it is Arsenal 2, Brentford 0. It's another win. It's top of the league. It's where we belong. We lifted ourselves up where we belong, where eagles fly. But there have been people asking for me to sing more on the pod, so I'm just trying to keep people happy. But, yeah. You could forfeit if you don't field the team. As of this moment, I don't see us losing football matches. But what if we wind up forfeiting due to being unable to field a team? Mascara goes out injured. Declan Rice goes off presumably injured. Not totally sure about that. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think it sounds or looked great, but we'll see. But you know who's going to just put all that in perspective? The person who just sums it up perfectly. I'll tell you who it's not. It's not Phil. It's not Paul. Sure as hell isn't me. It's Clive. Here he is.
Arsenal 1, Brentford 0, half-time at the Emirates. So, how's this game gone? We've got no Saka, which always puts a chill through my spine. But I looked at the subs bench and he's there. And I quite like the team. I do like the partnership of Ben White and Mosquera. The way Ben White plays, he sits in a little bit more. And he's next to Mosquera on that first ball. And I thought he's making him feel comfortable. And I felt a bit more confident. Also, I wasn't at Chelsea, but I had edginess about Mosquera in the first ball. But I thought he did better this game until he got injured. I think Capio looks quite bright across the ground. He looks quite bright in possession. Looks like the possession leader back there. And Calafiori's class. So we look okay. We look okay. We look better than them. I just feel as though I want that second goal because all they need is a throw or a corner. And I look at the players. They look big. Brentford players. They look big. They're playing for moments. They're playing for stress. So you score the second goal and there's no stress. You know, I'm looking at Chelsea are 1 down at Leeds at half-time. And so I'm looking at this thinking, okay, it could be a nice little drink in the bar afterwards if we win and Chelsea are losing. So that's what my head's focused on. So what's happened to Arsenal? I think, say what's happened. We're moving nice across the pitch. What's different? When Odegaard plays, we play away from the pairs, we play in threes. And he's all over the pitch, moving the ball. Our goal threat's coming from the right-hand side. We look like Arsenal of last season. Half spaces being attacked. Noni doing his one-on-ones well. When he gets past his man, it's the box of chocolates. What's going to happen? You feel as though he's almost more dangerous in one-on-ones than Saka, but when he gets the other side of his man, he's not as clinical, not as calm in the last action. Martinelli in and out. Calafiori looks smooth. Declan, obviously, different class. And Marino, again, I mean, he's just absolutely knitting this team together. You know, it's just, you know, to watch him play the game, his wisdom, when to drop, when to go up, his understanding of the parts of the pitch, where to be for his teammates, where to be to maximise his talent, is off the scale, honestly. And there's going to be a conversation about him being in our best 11 very, very soon. You know, and there you go, half-time 1-0. I feel okay, but I know football has a way of smacking you in the mouth. I'm hoping you're all laughing at me when we're 5-0 up at the end of the game. That's why I hope I'm wrong. So you can get stuck into me in the comments. See you in the game, patrons. Arsenal 2, Brentford 0, full-time in the Emirates. So, yes, those are one of those, mate, get the job done jobs. Do you know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, it stretched us to our limits after the week that we've had. And you could tell that Mikel was concerned about this game, the way he was talking about getting here for 7:30, etc. And I thought there was some absolutely massive performances of people who are ready, not ready, fatigued. Everybody put it in this game, and they got their 2-0. Maybe I think that's about right. I think that's fair. We can tell by the territory and the edginess in our game, particularly when Brentford just out-energied us in the second half, pushed us back, set pieces were threatening. We dealt with them fairly well. Got away one on the back post, who was free maybe. But what a performance! And I don't say this lightly. You know, I can sometimes be hyperbolic, but I think that is a massive, massive win. You can see the squad's on the edge. Every time we play, we lose somebody. We lost Mosquera today. Looked like my son said it wasn't his landing leg, it was him taking off, on his taking off leg. So I've not seen it close yet. And then obviously Rice was tight towards the end. Calafiori looked tight. Odegaard emptied the tank. You know, it's just incredible. So it might be a good one to go through player by player, right? So Raya, I thought Raya was excellent today. I want to know how many touches he had, because he was very much a big part of how we built and putting them on. I thought he had one of his most active games and really helped the team out distribution-wise, particularly going out to our right-hand side. I thought he was excellent. I'll go Ben White, and Ben White's game came in two halves. I think in the first half, he was back to Ben White. And in the second half, funny enough, after a while when his legs went, I felt he stayed deeper for longer. And what that does is, if you lose the contact up high, it means that, say, when particularly in the second half, Saka and Noni had to run back and chase their man. And you can see what happened last year. Saka did a lot more defending. When Timber and Saka play together, they're much more a combination. They attack together, defend together, but the distances are really, really tight and they dominate the space. But when Ben White was hot, it was just like last year. I think he was really, really good. A hero for me today, an absolute hero. To pull out that 90 with the prep he's had, it's the sort of stuff he does. You know, and I thought it was fantastic. Mosquera was doing okay until he went off. A little bit on the duel, 50-50, a bit better in the air. I wonder what his aerial duel count is. Hey, look, stunning player. He's 30 million quid. He's just absolutely brilliant, you know. So, but we're not the same without Steve and Gabriel. There you go, shock horror. I was really impressed with Hincapie. His distribution, he was the leader. His ability on the ball is stunning. He just drops away. He was really, really good. I have my thoughts whether he's a left back or a centre back. On this day, doesn't matter. Against the very, very best, I think he could be a left back. But hey, I'm not going to die on that hill, because the left back we have in Calafiori, he just oozes it, mate. Oozes quality. Again, someone on the edge physically. But tremendous today, getting forward, inside, outside. He's a difference to us from last year. Massive difference. Into midfield, I thought Zubimendi was a bit pissed off coming off on Sunday, and I thought he ran it again today with Rice. I don't know how Rice is doing what he's doing. I don't care, mate. He's the leader of his team with Zubimendi and, you know, one other player which I'll get to. Odegaard emptied the tank. No way should he have done 90, but he did it for the team again. At the end of the whistle, he just sunk to his knees at the final whistle. Sometimes great in patches and then disappears. When he's fit, he won't disappear. I have thoughts about Odegaard. I'll save it for the main pod. But the player I want to talk about the most is Mikel Marino, because, you know, Elliot and the guys like to talk about first 11s and best 11s. Well, I'm gonna go against my rules, because I want someone to tell me why Mikel Marino is not in our best 11. Because with Rice, he knits his team together. In all different phases of play, his intelligence is irreplaceable. And I thought he was magnificent today. My stock rising. everything he did was just absolute perfection. When he made a mistake, he won it back. He is, manager's player of the year at the end of the season, dude. It's already done. Mother, give it to him. I thought he was excellent. Martinelli stood in Trossard areas, and I thought he found it difficult. I'll be honest with you. He doesn't like being inside as much. He works hard because he gives that impression. I thought he walks a bit. I know I do this. I can't help it. I need a bit of support. Am I looking for his failings without seeing his positive sides? But I just feel the team's moving past him. When Eze comes on, his security on the ball is immediate. You feel more comfortable. He slows the game down. He's got a presence when the ball. He's just superb, right? And so that player is going to be something for us. And on the right wing, Noni again, a player just emptied the tank until he had nothing left. But when he was hot, he was fantastic. And he just wanted that second goal in the first half, so we could have got people out sooner. So now what I'm looking for, really, is the injury report. And that's what I'm watching. I'm watching football now. I'm thinking, okay, a day off tomorrow, training Friday, press conference Friday, up to Villa Park on Friday night, hotel, Saturday morning, 12:30, we go again. And what's going to be the team? One shout out for Timber, came on, settled us down massively. What a player he is. Didn't have to run as much in that position. What a player he is. Saka came on, obviously, missed an open goal, delivered. Hey, apologised in his celebration, I think, but delivered. I'm in the bars now watching Chelsea. At the moment, it's 2-1. And it's not easy, this football, every 3 days. It's not easy. We've done it. Massive win. Massive, massive, massive win. We go again Saturday. Take care, patrons.
I told you he'd do it. And he did it. Summed it up brilliantly. There's really nothing else to say, so thanks for joining. No, this is going to be a fun one, I think, because in addition to being an instant reaction, it's going to be a watch-along of sorts as we keep an eye on the Liverpool and Chelsea games, which are still going on as we speak. And as of the time of me standing here talking to you, because I'm standing at the moment, Leeds hold a slim 2-1 lead over Chelsea, had been 2-0. Liverpool and Sunderland playing out a snoozer at 0-0. So we'll keep an eye on that. And here to keep an eye on me is Phil. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Elliot. And I think you may have just manifested a Sunderland goal.
What? Breaking news.
Or maybe not.
Diddly.
I think you have.
Have I? Have I?
Diddly.
Goal. It says here, Talby. Do they have something called a Talby? Sunderland?
Club Bruges legend.
Club Bruges legend. Yeah. I'll be there to celebrate him next week. This time I'll be in Bruges singing the Talby song. Talby, 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 Talby. I love it. Liverpool, it was so back on. It's not back on anymore. Here with me also is Paul. Hello, Paul.
Woohoo!
Do you know the Talby song?
No, I don't. Is it diddly?
His name is Talby. He plays for Sunderland. He scores goals against
Phil.
Cop, and they cannot even stop.
My Flemish needs some work.
They're losing the football. This is so off the rails already. Meanwhile, Chelsea struggling with mighty Leeds, who have made a habit of giving teams trouble. 2-0 lead overcome against City, only to lose 3-2. 2-0 lead over Chelsea, who, as of this time that we are recording this, have conceded 1.26 expected goals and only have 0.78 themselves. And as you know, that tells you all you need to know about football, which is why we don't even watch the games. Let's try to do some Arsenal stuff here today. Once we've said we love you, thank you for being here. And I'll just ask you quickly, Phil, how worried are you about Declan Rice? So for those who didn't see it, I'll paint the picture. He goes down holding his calf, and he's pushing up into the underside of the calf, clearly calling out the area that is causing him issues. And it reminded me of other calf strain type concerns that I've seen. And that is a classic fatigue injury. He did look a little fatigued in the second half to me. I thought he was a little slowed down, which is understandable given how much he's played and how much he's put out. The other thing I will say about calf strains, I'm just going to say it because it's out there on the internet. You can look it up. Is that they're notorious for being a fatigue injury that you should not come back from too soon because they can start to involve the Achilles. So it's Villa at 12:30 on Saturday. Phil, what's your quick take on Declan Rice? Give me your most in-depth medical report on Declan Rice's calf strain.
Yeah, I'm not going to go all doom and gloom. I'm just going to hope and pray that it's cramp. Because him picking up a knock or an injury tonight was the most obvious thing that could have happened. He was very heavy-legged in the second half in particular. I think you could see him a couple of times running from box to box, visibly gassed, big breaths, trying to squeeze every last bit of juice out of his lungs and his legs, and you could just feel the lactic acid taking over. So hopefully it's just cramp or a little knock or a niggle that he can sit down for a couple of days and be all right for Saturday. But every minute that passed in this game, I thought, he's going to get injured. He's going to get injured. He's going to get injured. Where's Norgard? Where's somebody else to change it? And he went down. So, yeah, I think he was probably suffering most out of everybody on the pitch today, which is perfectly understandable because we rested Saka. We rested Timber. Obviously, those were the two big ones in my mind. Odegaard came into the team as well, but we couldn't really afford to drop Rice because that would have just caused too much disruption. We needed somebody senior in the middle of the pitch that could sort of be a physical presence today. Unfortunately, he had to play 84 or 85 minutes, and that will affect you. That will cost people. So I really hope that it isn't anything serious because we need him on Saturday and we need him for the weeks to come. So, yeah, I'm not going to go all doom and gloom just yet.
No, don't do that. And I shouldn't do that, even though I've done it, I think, already by invoking the Achilles in the intro to that discussion. But I will just say the chat giving us the update that at full time, he was moving fine after the whistle, looked happy, no physios around him or anything like that. Obviously, if this was anything they're worried about, that you'd see like an ice pack strapped on him, and I assume he'd be grimacing and holding up a sign saying, "I am very unhappy about the injury I sustained in this game." He was doing none of those things. So we can feel very good about that. Paul, before we get into headlines, I just think this is the Premier League in a nutshell, right? Everybody's overplayed. Everybody's playing too much. Typically what you get at the weekend is the big clubs who have played midweek against the small clubs that haven't. And so you get sort of an evening out that happens in some ways. But this week, what you're seeing is big clubs that played at the weekend and small clubs that played at the weekend, all mixing and matching with each other. And you get crazy shit like what happened between City and Fulham, 5-1 to 5-4, and at the death probably should have been 5-5, right? You see 4-2s between Brighton and Villa. And so it's just the case that this was always going to be a weird match day, these Tuesday, Wednesday games. And if you look around at all of the other ones, we might have had the quietest, calmest of them all, you know?
Yeah, well, I think the mistake you might be tempted to make here, Elliot, is to try and make sense of it all.
There are a lot of mistakes I am tempted to make. Okay, don't put me in a box. Sorry, go ahead.
Fair enough. Yes, it's hard to make sense of it all. It's hard to make sense of this game. It's hard to make sense of the other games, watching the score lines. It's that time of year, isn't it? These midweek games, it's like rotations everywhere. And like rotations are great, but like when you change a few bits, some properties of a team suddenly disappear. Doesn't seem like they should on paper. Like, oh, this player is as strong as that player-ish when you swap them in. And yeah, a lot changes when you rotate. And we make 3 changes in this game, and you could say all 3 rotations in did fine and good and well, but things can be a bit different. Or maybe they're nothing to do with the rotations and it's just that time of year. It's very hard to make sense of these games. I saw Phil's tweet just, I think, around the end of the game, which is basically, you take your 3 points and you move on and you probably don't overthink it. But we got 45, 50 minutes here to overthink it, and we shall.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at it, and I am literally looking at it, City conceded 4 goals. Chelsea 3-1 to the Leeds. And I want to just say, that Chelsea's starring performance, the world-class performance they put on to draw at home to Arsenal that sees their title credentials validated is not going to be dented by something as small as being down 3-1 to Leeds the very next game, in part, I presume, because greatest midfielder in the world, Moises Caicedo, got himself sent off stupidly. So, yeah.
Elliot, mate, I'm really sorry, but you're wrong. We are the rattled ones. Yeah, don't forget.
It's our heads that are on Mars.
We're the fan base that's rattled. Yeah, nobody else. Yeah.
I apologize. I apologize profusely. I am seeing the goal. It's a terrible error at the back. It's a coming together between keeper and player. I'm sure Chelsea will say it should be a foul. Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't care. It is 3-1 Leeds over Chelsea. But to my point, Villa conceded 3 goals. Chelsea have already conceded 3 goals. Liverpool are losing at home to Sunderland. City conceded 4 goals. I mean, Paul, there is something to be said for being the team. I mean, as much as you might want to think this was a nervy game, and I wasn't nervous, but I could understand how other people might have been. At no point was I ever nervous. But you look at it, and we've kept a clean sheet with a very rotated team. They had 6 shots worth 0.34 expected goals. So yes, it feels nervous because we're in a title race, but Paul, we were the only ones that really kept the game quiet in this midweek round, you know?
Yeah, sort of, right? It was a classic
well,
of the genre.
A sort of.
Well, yes, that's football, right? But also we were 1-0 up and shit happened and anything could have happened. And Raya makes a wonder save and, Kelleher doesn't make a wonder save and it goes from, could have been 1-1, ends up being 2-0. So kind of a classic of the genre for this time of year at this particular time. On paper, we absolutely cruised it. And it was an easy, solid game for us. We didn't play harder than we needed to. In the thick of that game, it was all over the place. Anything could have happened. That's football, but certainly some games more than others. We never quite remember back in the days when Mikel would deny that he had control or wanted control or it was about control. What I wouldn't do for a little control these days. We had no control in this game. We had some good passages of play, some anything can. We got there. We got our points. We'll remember this as being easier than it was. We'll let go of the things that could have been. More consequential is the points, the injuries, the fatigue, the managing your way. You're going to have a few games like this. It just feels like one of those games you see every holiday, December, January period, and you get through it. We were apparently good enough. I would have loved us to be much, much better. You shouldn't have to work so damn hard for a comfortable win, but we had to work really, really hard for a comfortable win.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's enough preamble. Let's get into the amble. Yeah. That's what everybody's here for, the amble, not the preamble. Yeah. So Phil, I do have the stats up on the screen. As I mentioned, 62% possession for Arsenal, 1.72 XG to 0.34, 15 shots to 6, 4 big chances to 1. If you want to look at the deeper dive into the data, we did win more duels, back to being the duel winners, thankfully, although just out aerial dueled a little bit. Tackles 24-19 though. We did out-touch them in the box, as we always do, 28-12. So all things being equal, the data says it was a performance deserving of the win that we got, although I accept everything Paul just said and have no comments in reply. So what is your headline from Arsenal 2, Brentford 0?
Yeah, my headline is today was about getting over the line. And you sort of explained this point very well. Teams are struggling to beat other teams. Yes, it's so cliche, but there are no easy games in this league anymore, unless you're playing Wolves. Maybe Wolves is an easy game, but the rest are difficult. And I think you could see it yesterday. Fulham coming back at the end, Liverpool losing right now to Sunderland, Chelsea losing right now to Leeds. This is tough. And I know we came down from a big emotional and physical high this week, having beaten Spurs, having beaten Bayern. We drew in that, blood fest that was Sunday at Stamford Bridge. And people just assume us to come right back down to ground. Easy win at home to Brentford. It doesn't work like that. we had to make the changes. There's going to be a natural disruption of fluency there. There's going to be a natural disruption of the game shape. Players are going to tire around 55, 60 minutes, which absolutely happened today. So today was just about getting over the line. We had some pressure on us with City sort of reducing the gap a little bit. And I hate to blow my own horn.
Oh, I was wondering where that was going. Yeah, sorry.
Yes,
I'll do it for you, Phil. Don't worry, Phil.
Thanks, Paul. But I did text you before, and I said, tonight it's going to be a struggle. I think we'll go 1-0 up, but it'll be one of those nervy leads, and then we'll bring on the big guns to get a late second.
I don't think it's that nervy at Leeds. They have a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, I got it. And I just had a feeling in the back of my mind that today was going to be like this. So, yes, statistically, we were the better team and we deserved to win the game. But when it's a 1-goal lead, man, anything can happen. One of those long throws can bounce anywhere, a flick on.
One did, right? It bounced
right at the end.
Past the face, yeah.
Yeah.
You see, Elliot? When Phil says it, you're fine with it.
Yeah, well, it's just about the delivery, Paul.
That's how it works, Paul.
Because he told me I said something really well. It's the compliment sandwich, right? He has to put the other part in the middle. By the way, but this is the thing about these games. And Paul, I'll say this back to you because I agree with Phil's headline. Today was always going to be about getting over the line. The game feels nervy, and the nerves make you feel like they're having the better of it somehow. But we had a lot of really dangerous positions that we wound up in where we just didn't convert. The story of this game really is about lack of execution on the final ball because Saka obviously has the one to tap it in. Marino has one where he slips down when he's wide of the goal where he could do something. Nani was in a good position about 5 different times in the first half. He could have put it in. There were a number of moments where I think we had a chance. Martinelli had a lovely chance that he skied over. So I'm not going to sit here and say we battered them because that would be wrong. So, and I don't say wrong things, obviously we know that, but I do think that the nerves obscure the fact that we were good value for having some kind of lead in this game, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't think so. If there was I'll disagree with you just because I like doing that.
Got to break across you. Unfortunately, Liverpool have equalized. And it is, I hate to say it, one of the worst players in the Premier League. Florian Wirtz. Yeah, from close range. Okay, that's 81 minutes gone and 1-1 Liverpool and Sunderland. Go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
Boo. Yeah, sorry, I was busy disagreeing with you. Because, while you're right that if you take all of our opportunities and their opportunities and you look at it on paper, we were better than them and we got the result. Still, when you have no control over a game and the ball's bouncing around and you're not finishing off your side of it, which tends to happen this time of year, then yeah, I think you've a right to be nervous because you can see we're not doing our part of it to the level we want and it's there for them. And we don't have the control to stop that. There are other games where you've much more of a sense of control. So there's definitely, I definitely think you're not wrong. It's not some trick of the mind that you were nervous and you'd no reason to be. You had plenty of reason to be nervous because we didn't put our stamp on the game. We didn't put our foot on the ball. We didn't finish it off. There were lots of chances and there were going to be a lot of chances that we didn't finish off. So I say be nervous. Now, it's fine. But
I mean, Tim made this point on the main pod the other day.
It wasn't an optical illusion.
No, of course not. And Tim made this point on the main pod the other day. Unfortunately, title races are horrible.
Yeah.
They're horrible. Because every game matters a ton. It's a low scoring sport. And it's not common to do what we did in the winter of 24, right? Where we were winning games 4-5-0 every game. And there's going to be games like this, and thankfully it went our way. Okay, Paul, I need a headline from you, though.
Oh, Jesus.
How do you not know that's coming? That's in every...
Well, because it's more that I feel we've talked through all the points I had for my headline. I'm going to go with 3 points and we move on, which is a bit like Phil's headline, but it is what it is, right? We will nail this one. We will file this in a box saying 3 points and move on. Took care of business. It was all fine. After 12, 24 hours, we'll forget all of the details of the game and we won comfortably. The XG shows it, the opportunities, your little graphs, your little radars. Comfortable win. But it wasn't a comfortable win until we scored the second goal.
It's not going to let this go, Phil.
So my headline for everybody who didn't listen to this podcast was comfortable win.
I like it. Yeah. Paul, Phil, anything on that?
No.
Okay. I'll get to my headline then. By the way, huge clash in the box between Liverpool and Sunderland. Sunderland player is down. Now a second Sunderland player is down.
Couldn't we all just watch the game instead, Elliot?
Hey, you're trying to chase. First, he wants to crap on my points. Now he wants to chase away our audience. What's going on here? It looks like, oh gosh, it's two Sunderland players clash of heads. Okay, so my headline, no, that's Paul's headline. We don't need that one again. Well, it was good enough the first time. My headline is Mikel should stop walking under ladders. Like, I don't know what this guy has to do. Just before the Chelsea game, a big away game, in a big week, he loses Saliba. So he comes into this game, and what does he do? He does the sensible thing, the thing we've all been saying. You got to give Timber a rest. You've got to give Saliba more time to heal up, to rest up, right? You've got to rest the key players. They can't play every game. Okay. So we make some decisions. It was a huge deflection on the Wirtz goal. It might even be an own goal. I
think it is an own goal.
Yeah. So he makes some huge decisions. He doesn't bring Saliba into the bench where he could risk using him, which he probably could have done. He plays Ben White instead of Yuri and Timber, who needs a rest, sure. Okay, he goes with Declan Rice, who you might like to get a rest, but he rests Bukayo Saka. You can only rest so many people. This is still the Premier League, right? And you look at that bench, you say, that's a hell of a bench. But then Mascara gets injured, and he's got to bring Timber on anyway. And it's just like, how many changes can you make before the cohesion and the quality of your play is impacted? You're already reintegrating Odegaard, who's a bit of a change of dynamic. You're playing with a midfielder at striker, which, to be fair, he might be our best player. You're playing with two backup center backs. At least they have some experience together. And then one of them goes off, and you have to move your fullback to center back, who probably also was looking forward to getting a nice, quiet, restful night. So you have a new right back, two center backs in the same game, one of whom isn't even a center back, and another backup center back. And you're playing with just all kinds of converted players all over the place. So it's just one of those situations where Mikel tried to do the thing we all want him to do, rotate a bit, use the depth of the squad. What does he do in the wings? Martinelli, instead of Eze, he gives Eze a rest because Eze looked like he was pulling a caravan a little bit, as Clive would say by the end of the Chelsea game. And you know, he uses Nani on the right, and it just, you know, it goes to pieces, and he's finishing the game having to bring Timber on to play, and then Rice has to go off at the end. I feel for him because he's made an injury and forced substitution in something like, I think it's 97% of the games he's managed for Arsenal is the data that I have. Scott, don't look that up. So it just, I mean, Phil, this is everything you want from him. Rotate, use the squad, but we're plumbing the depths of the squad now to the point where I don't know what else you can do. At some point, surely this has to stop.
Of course it has to stop. I mean, Jakub Kiwior is technically a loan exit, right? Can we recall him? And this is so difficult because everyone's going to jump to what's going on in the medical department. Can we sack every single doctor at the club? But I really hate getting into that topic because I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm not a medical professional. I don't have any behind the scenes access to Arsenal. I don't know the processes. I don't know what's happening there. Are we just signing injury prone players? Is it bad luck? I don't know. So I'm really reluctant.
I don't know if you know this podcast, but we don't let any of that hold us back from our opinion.
Come on.
So basically, any doctor that we've signed in the last 12 months, get them out right now. We can do a Nice Ultra situation and just storm Sober Realty tomorrow and get them all out on pitchforks. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. When Mosquera went down, I was just laughing. I was laughing because what else? Of course he went down. That's what happens when Arsenal play. We lose players with injury. And I look at it now and I think we could be playing on Saturday or at Saturday lunchtime at Villa Park with Timber and Nkapie as our two centre-backs. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's crazy. Good comment coming from James Lowe, though. How about study medicine for 6 years? Where's the commitment? I mean, if you really cared about Arsenal, go to medical school, do your residency.
Can I give some advice here? Start by exploring your own body, Phil. That's how I became so adept at medical stuff.
Well, there goes my appetite for dinner.
6 years.
Hey,
6 years, Phil.
Out of curiosity, though,
I don't want to know what happened in those 6 years, Paul.
were you surprised, Paul, that when Mascara came off, he didn't go for Miles at left back and slide Calafiori over to center back? Or do you think it's because he doesn't want to use Nkapie as a right-sided center back as a lefty? I mean, I think it might be more that people are probably going to read into the Miles not being picked thing. But there's a part of me that just thinks, too, Calafiori's so important, and he was doing so many good things. And by the way, he nearly got us the second goal with a sensational bit of play in stoppage time at the end himself. So what do you think of that? The fact that he didn't bring on Miles and move Calafiori over?
Yeah, look, I don't know how you score this and points for it, but that seems like way more change than keeping Calafiori where he's at, Nkapie where he's at. Let Timber do Timber, because you know exactly what you're going to get from him. Talk about known knowns, right? How do you maximize your known? You then have Ben White at right back. That's a known, especially at that point in the game. Timber, you know what he's going to do. You know he's going to be solid. He's going to be cool. He's going to do his job as a right center back, which he can do. Nkapie playing, at least for what is the moment, his position, and Calafiori doing Calafiori things. You changed that by moving Calafiori to left center back. You've basically changed everything. So, yeah. How do you measure it? I think that's way less change, even if it doesn't seem like it on paper, but that's way less change.
Yeah, and I mean, it shows you, by the way, just how much faith and trust Mikel has in Jurrien Timber. I know you're tired. I know this was supposed to be your night off. Go out there and play center back. You just throw him anywhere. He's such a professional player. He really feels like he can do just about whatever you need him to. Let's hit the stocks rising and stocks falling. I will let you know that we are into 7 minutes of stoppage time, 1-1 at Anfield. Leeds 3, Chelsea 1. That game also into stoppage time. And I don't know. I don't know if it's a huge dent in Chelsea's title bid or not. I mean, only they can tell us that. So, Phil, who's your stock rising?
Benny Blanco. Ben White is my stock rising. My heart is full. I got my joy back, guys. Watching him on the overlap, not the Sky Show, the overlap. The
Thank goodness, overlap. That we don't want to watch.
The real overlap.
He wouldn't set, I can't even imagine him being on that show. Just watching him run is a joy, because we haven't seen it. And when we have seen it this year, he's been short on fitness, short on match sharpness, never really looking comfortable in his duels. He hasn't really been able to cover the ground. And I know people have been asking, why isn't he playing more? But again, we don't know all the ins and outs of the situation. Maybe he's not been ready to play more. Maybe he's carrying something again. But we love him, and we love this player for a reason. And that's because he's really good. He's really, really good. And it's been lost a little bit in Timber going stratospheric and doing everything right and improving week on week and winning every single duel known to man. But Ben White is really good. And in that first half, I loved the dynamic between him and Madueke. I just think he gives us a little something extra in the final third. And I'm not saying that Timber doesn't, he just does it in a different way. White is very clever and intelligent in the way that he times his runs. I like a lot of his distribution. He's very clever looking to go on the inside between left centre back and left back. He likes that little ball in between the two defenders. He's just a really good player, a technical player. And the cross for the goal, I know Marino is the one that makes it a goal because his movement and determination to get across Ethan Pinnock is excellent. But that cross is so good. It's a really, really good cross. And I think look, the fact that he played 90 minutes today was a miracle, right? I think to come back, first game back, he's played 90 minutes. I'm sure his legs will be suffering tomorrow, but we know that about him. He's a fighter. He will put his body through pain and torture to play for this club. He ran through bricks for us for the best part of a year, which is why he can't really run anymore, or we haven't seen him run it over the past 6 months. But there was just a lot to like about Ben White's performance tonight. I think he gave the Arsenal attack a different dynamic. And defensively, you know, I'm looking at the stats now: 6 clearances, four tackles, 1 out of 6, 7 out of 9 ground duels won, 3 out of 7 aerial duels run. That's pretty solid, you know. And 86 touches. That's a big influence on the game. And I think we're comfortable with him having the ball because he takes care of it. He knows what to do. So I'm just really happy he's back in the picture, because I, like many others, were starting to worry about him. But when I see him playing like this, I think, you know, there's something there. There's something left that we can squeeze out of him. And, you know, if we are going to win this league or win any silverware this year, we need people fit. So, yeah, I was so happy to see him play well and get the assist, but also just because I think he gives us a little something different on the pitch to Timber, not to discredit either one. They're just different players, you know. You're muted.
Yeah, of course I am. Sunderland just missed the chance to win at Anfield. Clear through breakaway from his own half, 1v1 with the keeper, rounds the keeper, and Chiesa clears it off the line. It was as clear a chance as you can possibly get to win a game in stoppage time. So
don't worry, Elliot. I was listening to Phil.
I'm surprised you didn't gloat about the.
Well, my stock rising.
move.
I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to go with Ben White. I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, Paul, I think we should spend just another minute on Ben White for a second, which is just, I think the key here is he plays the 90. He looked fit. Look, he's not Jurrien Timber. Jurrien Timber is the first choice right back, but he definitely added something to our attack. His cross for the header was great. His overlaps and underlaps were beautiful. He really had a good understanding with Nani, which was great to see. And if anything, maybe this will just give Mikel the confidence that he can use Ben White when he feels that Timber's in the red, because I don't think he's felt that way up to this point.
Yeah, look, I think it was a big step forward for Ben White. Pretty much like a little bit of his end producty stuff isn't as sharp as it could be. But I think that all makes sense. There was nothing out of order here. But 95% of his game was good old Ben White back to his levels. He has slightly different patterns. He doesn't feel as vertical as Timber. He's more kind of floaty. The understanding with Nani you touched on as well. There was lots of good stuff. But the other thing that I reacted to was we got that triangle back together when we got Saka and Odegaard and White in the second half. And we started to see control. And we started to see really getting a grip of the game again. And like, it wasn't complete. It wasn't like the kind of our best, highest levels where that triangle's on the field and we just completely worked them over and controlled. But there was definitely way more control. So Arteta will look at that and say, that I liked what I got there. Not just Ben White, but the triangle back together, how that worked. We also saw that Timber and White in the same team can work is a thing. So all of that is air in the balloon of Ben White and his ability to contribute in other ways, maybe with Timber on the field at the same time. That's a very, very good option. And if Mosquera is out for a little bit, hopefully he won't. But if he is, look, there's a rotation option. Okay, involves using Timber again. But depending on who's got it in their legs, there's other ways to get White on the pitch at the same time because he's got the levels. He's one of the best right backs in the league who can't bloody get a game at Arsenal at the moment.
Yeah. Before we hit your stock rising, Paul, I think we can take stock of the results. Chelsea have lost to Leeds.
Woohoo!
Now, until we hear from a Chelsea supporter, we won't know if that's a good performance and result from them. We'll need them to validate that for us. But they have lost to Leeds. Liverpool have drawn at home to Sunderland, the Fighting Granite Shakas. And so I will give you some information on the table as it stands. Arsenal Football Club sit top with 33 points, 27 goals for, 7 against. Manchester City, second, 5 points back, 28 points. They have conceded 16 goals. Now, granted, 4 of them came yesterday, and what a game that was. I had Fulham scored that late goal that they very easily could have, that might have been my favorite game in the history of football. But we'll set that aside for now. Aston Villa have moved up to third on 27. Sunderland jump ahead of Chelsea with their draw at Anfield, and Chelsea, title challenging Chelsea, who had a dominant 1-1 draw at the weekend, somehow are in 5th, 9 points back of the Arsenal team they beat 1-1.
Wait, Elliot, I think that you might need to refresh this table because it has Sunderland as winning on.
No,
on
Sunderland didn't win. Oh, yeah. That's right. So they're behind Chelsea. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. So let's refresh that table, and I will read it the correct way. Thankfully, the people listening and not watching have not been subjected to the lies that I have on the screen. But Chelsea are still in 4th, 9 points behind Arsenal. Palace in 5th. Sunderland tied in 5th, so 6th with 23 points. Brighton and Hove Albion 7th. The Fighting Liverpools are 22 points, so they are in 8th. But Manchester United host West Ham tomorrow. And if they somehow get a result, even a draw, they will move back ahead of Liverpool, vaulting Liverpool into 9th place, closer to Everton and Tottenham than Arsenal, because they are now currently 11 points back of Arsenal Football Club. So it is a beautiful table, one that I am quite enjoying. And I cannot stress this enough. If City want to catch us, if they want 85 points, if you think 85 points will get it done, they need a 92-point pace the rest of the way to do it. So, these early points on the board, they do matter, everybody. They matter a lot. Okay, Paul, I've vamped long enough. We've done the watch-along stuff. That's done. We'll talk Schadenfreude another time. But the rest of this pod is devoted to the Arsenal match. And I want to know from you who your stock rising is.
El Gato, David Raya.
Really?
Wow.
I had him on the stock falling list. Paul, you are world class at this format. It is my pleasure to come on here and do these with you every game because you see football in a way that makes it more interesting.
I do, yeah.
Why El Gato?
That was a brilliant save.
Oh, you know what? That's a fair point.
If it was not for that fucking world-class save, we're at 1-1.
That's a very fair point. Yep.
Now go down the other end of the pitch. Quiveen Kelleher,
and
I know how to pronounce that name.
I don't, yeah.
Has a very similar moment, different shape, but a similar moment in which a strong enough hand changes the direction of that game, and we're still 1-1. And yes, it wasn't David Raya's best game in some ways, but in many other ways, it was a very standard game for him and a world-class save at the moment it was required. I'm sorry, I won't back down from it because my only other choice is to pick Mikel Marino, and I'm not going to give that throw that chum in the water. I'm going to leave that one for you, Elliot.
Good, because I'm going to take it. Well, you know what, Paul? I take back my ridicule of you. Not all of it, just on this particular topic, because it was not deserved. Because you're right that Raya makes the save that prevents us from dropping points in this game potentially. Now, look, if he doesn't make that save, it may hit the bar or we may come back to win it anyway. But you're right. Huge save. My thing, Phil, with Raya today, and the reason why I had him on a stock falling list is I just think his distribution is not as good as it once was. First of all, I think he's way too... We'll come back to that. And to your point, Paul, to be fair to your point, he hasn't had to make saves in a while. He doesn't do much. And today he did, and he was good on the set pieces too. But for me, Phil, the biggest issue is one, I think he's going long too often. But then he's still got that bozo gene sometimes when he's willing to play a short pass. He had the one where he nearly sold Zubamendi. Was it Zubamendi short?
Yeah, it was.
Really nearly. Now look, he plays a lot of passes. He has the ball at his feet a lot.
Grow a pair, Elliot.
Well, I clearly have you ever watched a football match with me? I don't have that. I don't have that going for me. But I'm curious why you had the reaction, Phil. Because for me, the issue is just I was getting frustrated, and I actually noted in my match notes that it felt like he was going long when we weren't under pressure, and that was making the game feel more like basketball, more fractious than it needed to be.
My feeling on this stock rising is that he was fine. I thought he made an incredible save in the first half from that Kevin Schade header. I thought he was otherwise very stable.
Yeah.
He wasn't a stock falling for me. He wasn't a stock rising.
Yep.
But obviously the save in the first half was his highlight.
I just think at home to Brentford, who want to make it a long... Okay, yeah, okay.
Why do you think he's going long?
Yeah. He didn't make it up himself, Elliot.
I think he is. I think he's doing it himself. I think he has the license to distribute the
But there's no
but
way.
Elliot, he's got a midfield.
He's a player. He's on the pitch when the ball's at his feet.
Elliot,
Guys,
he's got a midfield in front of him who will bollock him off the pitch if they don't give it to him when he wants them. He has two raw centre backs who are not asking for the ball in those situations. Calafiori is trying to get up the pitch, not hang back. Marino's dropping deep. Odegaard's dropping deep. They're doing all of that for a reason. They're not up the other end of the pitch, knowing that it's going to safely make its way up to them. And you got Heinze, you got Stevenberg, and you got Mikel Arteta, who, if they weren't happy with the first half, would have talked to him at halftime and told him to do something different in the second half. He's absolutely not doing it on his own.
So, okay, so let me just say this, because I don't know, how would you say this? No football. But here's what I know. When your keeper has a 61% pass accuracy and is accurate with 9 of 25 long balls, that's 16 possessions coming right back at you against a team that does not have the technical level or the ability to I think, take the ball off you in the press. I would like to see us. And then you know what? Maybe my stock falling is Mikel Arteta if Mikel's telling him to go long that much. But when you go long 25 times and you're accurate with 9 of them, it's a lot of possessions gifted back to the opposition in a game where you should just be taking any of the threat out of it, keeping your foot on the ball. I felt the issue, and Paul, you felt this too, against Chelsea. Too much back and forth, too many changes of possession, not enough 10, 11, 12 pass sequences. And I just thought there were times when I was thinking, Raya, just play it around to you guys. And maybe, to be fair, with no Saliba and no Gabby and a changed back line, yes, okay, you know what?
That's the key point, isn't it?
I get it, but you still wound up with 16 times, 64% of the time you kicked it, the ball was coming right back at you. And I didn't like that. That I may be wrong. Tactically, it may have been the right thing to do. I didn't like it. So that's really all it boils down to. And look, he makes the key save. Just so we're clear too, right? I mean, I always have to say this about stock falling. I love David Raya. I think he's one of the best keepers in the world, full stop. When you combine what he can do with his feet with what he can do saving, keeping the ball out of the net. I just like to see him play it short more in home games against smaller teams that we want to have more possession against. I don't like seeing 16 inaccurate long balls coming right back at us. That's really it for me.
But inaccurate long balls is as much a measure of what situation you're in up the pitch. It all hangs together. If you don't have the control deeper, then you don't have the control up the pitch, because the other team doesn't need to, doesn't have to cheat forward to press your back line. It all comes together. Your accuracy, when you control a game, your accuracy goes up. When the players are up the pitch, it's all functioning. Guess what? They tend to win more balls. You tend to get more players around them, so you win second balls. It doesn't it's this organic. It's all part of the one thing. Raya's keeping it simple, basically, and it worked. That's what I would say.
I guess I look at it this way. When he first got to Arsenal his first season, he averaged 13.7 long passes attempted. So let's say 14. Last season, he averaged 15. This season, he's up to 17.3. Today, it was 25. So I can only observe what I can observe, which is, do we need to be going long that often? And to Phil's point, it's a different back line. But as the chat points out, and I think this is important, yes, 64% of the time it came back at us, but 64% of the time it works every time. Little Anchorman reference for you there. All right, so Iowa stock rising. Now I feel like I'm a little bit in the shit because I had more choices. It's not so much that Raya is a bad one. It's that I wasn't expecting it. So now I have to
go on.
I'm going to do it. Don't worry, Paul. I'm going to do it. It's just I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anyone. But yeah, I'm going to say.
Hang on while I oil myself up.
Do it. It's Mikel Marino. And right now, he's our best striker. And right now, game for our life, Champions League final, I'm starting Mikel Marino. It's that simple. He scores goals. He drops into midfield. If you need to change, one of the things I like is he gives you optionality, because if Mikel Marino is on the pitch at striker and you need to change the shape late in the game, he can drop in and become part of a midfield. You can take a more lightweight forward off. You can take an Odegaard off or whatever it is and drop him into midfield, play 2 up front, do what you want to do. He drops in, he presses, he wins aerial duels, he scores critical goals. I just don't know where we'd be.
The
without his
passing,
goals.
Elliot, the passing. I want to hear the word pass
had,
come from your mouth.
Who did he set up?
Well, Saka, for
Oh,
starters.
yeah. He plays the through ball for Saka. That's thank you. He plays the through ball for Saka, which was absolutely brilliant. He's just really, really good. And I don't know what to say other than this is a player that anytime you sign a midfielder out of Spain, you have a sort of idea about the kind of player that you're getting and what you think he's going to be. And while I still to this day am not sure how I feel if I see Mikel Marino starting in midfield for Arsenal, I don't know that he's droppable at this point. So, Phil, I'll go to you first. He's just a really special player because he's got that thing that if there's a critical involvement to be made, he's got a really incredible, uncanny knack for making it.
This transformation has been one of the storylines of Arteta's tenure as manager. Not even just of this current group, not because of signings or anything. This is player development and catering to people's strengths. It's about how you adapt other people to certain players. And I think how we've managed to make this work, both from an individual perspective in terms of Marino making it work and from a collective level about how we've been able to make it work, is sensational. Genuinely, the fact that we're playing Mikel Marino up front as our false nine or centre forward for most of this year, by the way, it's not just a recent thing. This has been happening since February, and the fact that we haven't dropped off really is amazing. And I think he's had to fight with a lot of perception about him because, like you said, he came in as a box-to-box midfielder. He wins his duels, good at aerial duels. But to play for Spain, to play in Spain, you need a certain level of technical ability. And I think the speed at which you see that technical ability was exposed in England, right? And it didn't come easy for him. He arrived, did his shoulder straight away. He was always playing catch up. There were moments where I watch him and I think, how are you not doing the most basic thing in midfield? Controlling a simple pass, turning on the ball, loose first touches, giving the ball away. And then you put him 20 yards further forward and everything looks so polished and neat and tidy and he's aware of his surroundings. And I think the main thing we've had to do with him is just to utilize those strengths in a more advanced role. So he's not a number 8 anymore. He's a number 10 and he's a terrorism 10. He's not an Ozil. He's not a nice player that you want on the ball, turning, creating goals. He is someone who needs the ball to feet. He needs to know where the guys are around him. He needs to feel defenders around him. But obviously, those midfield instincts are still there. So he can do the nice midfield stuff. It's bizarre. I have a really difficult time explaining this because I'm still figuring him out. I really don't know what we've got here. But at this moment in time, he's an exceptional centre forward. Like, the goal is unbelievable. That's the centre forward's goal. The way he gets across Ethan Pinnock there, he's alert. The run is really aggressive to the near post and he heads the ball down beyond the goalkeeper. That's a centre forward's goal, and then he has having run himself ragged for 90 minutes, by the way, challenging people. There's 3 Brentford centre backs challenging him for every aerial duel. He's getting kicked. He's missed chances, but he's still finding the reserves to keep going in the 90th minute, having dropped deep when Declan Rice came off to find the ball through for Bukayo Saka. It's just, this is like a lesson in resilience, if that makes sense, because he's just found a way to make himself valuable when there was a real danger of him floating away.
I think it's a lesson in a manager, understanding the things that a player has that are elite about them and then just leaning into it. It's why Declan Rice is our 8, not our 6. It's why, players are playing in roles that they weren't necessarily bought for, but excelling in them. If you look at this guy's shot map last season and this season, with the name taken off the page, it's Erling Haaland. It's the shot map of dreams. It's lots of shots inside the box, inside the width of the 6-yard box. It's just absolutely phenomenal. The guy now has 3 goals and 3 assists. He beats his XG because he is one of those few players that I think can reliably be expected to finish above what's expected. He is the rare player who is good at headers. There's just not a lot of strikers left that are really good at headers. I mean, candidly.
And his movement before the header for his last 2 goals, those last 2 headers, he absolutely, the separation he creates by knowing beforehand. And we've seen it time and time again for him, for us, for Spain. He finds separation at key moments in the box for headers, and he's a great header.
Yeah, and I mean, what other striker can you say who's going to have the goal and assist return this guy has? And then when your box-to-box rangy ball recovery guy goes off with a calf strain at the end of the game, he drops back in and he takes that role. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And by the way, the play where Rice almost gets the ball across to Nani, and I think it's Henry
Rico Henry.
Yeah, Rico Henry, really good block. That's a nice bit of combination play with Marino, who plays. And he gets the assist for Saka. What a player. So, Paul, I will let you say something about him because,
thank you.
I mean, obviously it was going to happen. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Gyökeres comes on, Rice goes off, and I'm like, great. Here we go. We're going to play football. He's going to play left 8. Let's see some of that. Because we've seen almost none of that. Most of our judgment of Marino is either when we weren't good and the team wasn't functioning and he started playing left 8 for us last season. And this season it's been striker or play right 8 kind of 10 role in a team that wasn't yet good and what they didn't have a functioning attack. So before we write him off as a midfield, remembering how many good things he does when the team's in a shape, has some flow, how often does he find the good pass when the team's functioning? I think quite often. So I want to see way more of him at left 8 in a functioning team before I say, oh, well, he's useful to us as a striker. Don't want to see him in midfield. I don't want to see him at right 8. I don't want to see him as our lone 10 because we've nobody else playing. I want to see him as a left 8 in a functioning team, which we almost got to see for a period of time. And we certainly saw him on the Saka pass, putting him through. So I have way higher hopes than I think are the general consensus for Mikel Marino as a left 8 for us in a functioning team that's actually quite good outside of Mikel Marino.
Yeah, I mean, the hard thing is you got to be better than Declan Rice.
Well, that's not my point. My point is not that he needs to be better than Declan Rice. My point is if Declan Rice doesn't have to play every game, that would be great, right?
Yeah, I totally agree.
If Mikel Marino is a lot better than we have him pegged, then he won't have to play every game.
Yeah, and I guess, look, I'm not going to say a bad word about Marino on a day like today. I would just say that I think if you compare him to Kai, those players are very equivalent to me right now in terms of the kinds of things you want them on the pitch doing. But if I need a goal in a game at this point, and I'm being unkind to Kai because I haven't seen him really for a year, but right now it's Mikel Marino. What a player. What's the word? Jugador. Is that Phil? Did I say it right?
Let me handle this, Phil, with my Spanish skills. So are you fluent in Spanish, by the way, Phil? Are you there yet?
More or less at the moment, yeah.
Oh, look at him.
More or less.
So is it
Más
K
o menos,
Jugador? Did I say it right? Did I say it right? K
It's jugador.
Huh? Jugador.
Jugador. Because in Brazilian, they say the je sound, but in Spanish, they don't.
Oh, okay. Well, so see, I was just trying to pander to
you speak neither language equally well, Elliot. Well done.
Paul, I don't speak any language fluently. We can agree on that. We need stock fallings today. I'm demanding it. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go with an Arsenal player or a Schadenfreude one, but I've got some Arsenal players in mind, I think. So, Phil, who do you want to stomp on?
Nobody, ideally.
Come on.
I think I might say Christian Odegaard.
Okay. It's a waste.
All right.
I think.
I mean, it's beating up a guy that can't defend himself, but sure.
Yes.
Sorry,
and it's,
sorry. I gotta wake up from the boring decision you made to listen to what you have to say about it.
Thank you, guys. This is more for the context around him.
See, Phil, it's not nice living Paul's life where everyone ridicules you for your pick, is it?
I know.
It's not so fun.
I know.
Stiff upper back.
You know, you get one armadillo joke wrong, and that's it. Your credibility's gone. Yeah, I think Christian Norgard should be a stock falling today, because he's not being used. He's not being used, and he's not being trusted. And Declan Rice needed to come off in that second half. And did Arteta even look his way? You know, I don't even know if he was warming up. So I was fully on board with the signing. I thought he would be a nice break glass in case of emergencies, safety blanket, security blanket, however you want to call it. But today was a break glass kind of day. And that glass didn't get broken. He would have rather pushed Marino further back and into the ground than use Christian Norgard. And I think that's slightly concerning. And there might be a couple of occasions to play him over the next week or so. We've got obviously Club Bruges. We've got Wolves coming up. So maybe that's the chance where we can really feel comfortable, you know, playing him without too much of a worry. And I completely understand why Declan Rice started the game tonight, but there should have been scope for him to come off earlier. And the fact that he didn't just leaves a little bit of doubt in my mind about his standing in the squad, because I think he's perfectly fine. He was perfectly serviceable for Brentford last year. He's got a lot of experience. I think he's a good player. I don't think he needs to be starting 35 games for Arsenal, but he can certainly play a role, you know, and we haven't seen it at all yet. So there's just something in the back of my mind that's a little bit, is this just going to be him not playing at all and then leaving in the summer?
I don't think he's going to play, Phil. I think the manager sized him up and decided he doesn't have the legs for the position. Problem is he can't pass like Zubi. I don't think he reads the game well enough to recover when he's out of position. And granted, we've seen so little of him, I don't know. But...
He doesn't need to be Rice or Zubimendi. He just needs to be good enough to be able to come in for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe a start here, an occasional start there, but he's not even getting that.
Well, can I make a point too? You're absolutely right. First of all, he's going to start against Palace in the League Cup. He'll probably start an FA Cup tie. I think one of the other problems for Norgard, like a game like tonight, if it had been Saliba and Gabby and Timber and Calafiori, you know what I mean? Like, it was so much change. If I'm Mikel Arteta and I want to bring on Norgard for the last 15 or 20 minutes of a game, I don't want to bring Norgard on the last 15, 20 minutes of a game where I already don't have my starting center back, don't have my backup center back, don't have Declan Rice on the pitch anymore. I have a shagged out Martin Odegaard, right? I've got Ben White playing his first 90 all season. You know what I'm saying? I just think it was so much change that he probably wanted to try to minimize his exposure at that point, which I kind of understand. Okay. I've got two Arsenal players in mind. Otherwise I'd have to pivot to humor. So Paul, what about you?
You have two Arsenal players from the game that actually happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not like Phil
Really?
picking a guy who didn't get on the pitch. Well, I guess, I mean, do you want me to, well, I don't want to.
No, I don't. I'm
poison the
not
well
going to
here.
pick any. I don't think there are any stock fallings from the performance today.
Okay.
And I could fight people over that, but I won't. Here's my stock falling. Chelsea Football Club. The fall off between their perception of what happened last weekend. I liked.
I just want to be clear. No one's going to ridicule you for that. That pick.
Good.
It was as safe as when you gave Arsenal Football Club a stock rising the other day.
Yes. Well, I'm very good at stock risings. I'm going to use the Tim quote that he shared in the WhatsApp. I see Chelsea are still hungover from the parade on Sunday.
And I saw someone say what I like, which is Chelsea have taken the trophy from the we played well against Arsenal trophy from Manchester United.
Yeah, they're rotating it. And when you add on all the pundits and all the I guess that's what pundits have to do. They got to talk about something, and that was like they need some news, and the news was, oh, Chelsea are back. Well, Chelsea went away again.
The punditry was literally, this proved Chelsea are in the title race to stay, and that lasted 3 days.
Well, exactly. That's an even better framing of it, because like they were the second best team in the league. Apparently they're not. So, yeah, I mean, that's a huge fall off. You're going to have to go some to beat that with the players on the pitch today, Elliot. But I don't think I need to say too much on Chelsea. They've done their talking themselves. So,
yeah, I mean, Phil, please get stuck in. They are the biggest see you next Tuesdays on the planet. I mean, it's funny. I used to think online Liverpool fans were bad. We did a reel, like an Instagram reel, whatever, that got cut together by Gulam, who does great work for us, just about Caicedo being overly emotional and violent, and got predictably hateful, angry, miserable responses. Oh, by the way, of course, racist responses, because, you know, it's part of their DNA. They're a terrible, miserable football club. They are the first club that really ruined English football from an economic structure standpoint. They're a bankrupt club. And now they are a club that once again is in their rightful position, battling for something other than a title.
Yeah, I said it in the main pod the other day. If this club were hit by a meteor and obliterated off the earth, no one would care. I think they are scummy. I think their fans are scummy. I think the players are... yeah, I've got too many words to describe them, but just the way, how jumped up they were the other day, right? Mm-hmm. Just, for me, told me everything that I need to know about them. That was the biggest inferiority complex, chip on the shoulder performance I've seen against Arsenal in a long time, you know, and it's for a reason. You know, I've seen people retweet a few posts, and there's one from Chelsea Hour that I'm going to read now, and it was from Sunday, 7:44 p.m. on Sunday, and it says, "That psychological blow, absolutely lovely. Despite the man advantage, you still got outplayed and outfought. Some super team. Anyways, tonight proved what I've known all along. We are there." And to Chelsea Hour,
they mean in a Champions League battle.
And to Chelsea Hour, I would just like to say, fuck you, because honestly, you're not the only one. I made one tweet, this week about them having Enzo Fernandez as a, how shall I say, representative of the club and its values, and the amount of DMs and the amount of responses and the amount of replies where it's amazing how much you've been rattled. You can't handle that Chelsea are good again, blah, blah, blah. Enzo Fernandez, this Cucurella, that. Honestly, guys, it's boring. There are levels to this game and they're miles away. Away. And I just can't wait to see the fallout from this Leeds game, because they're never far away from a referendum. So
this is true. This is a true story. They are currently on fewer points with a worse goal difference right now than they were this time last season. They have fewer points and a worse goal difference right now than they did this time last season. So any narrative around progress they are making, there is no progress that they are making. Okay? I just want to be clear about that. And by the way, Manchester City this time last season, 26 points. They have 28 right now. Okay, so they're a bit ahead. Arsenal Football Club this time last season, 25. We got 33. So, I mean, you know, we are the team on the rise, as if there was any doubt about that. Paul, anything you want to add about Chelsea Football Club before we move on?
No, I mean, of all the clubs I can think of, they got no soul. I mean, if ever there is the club that sold their soul, and like volume, throwing players at it, throwing money at it, does not give you your soul back. I despise many clubs, but there is a hierarchy, a ranking order, and Chelsea is just way ahead of it, way at the top. So yeah, those guys got no soul, and they demonstrated week in, week out. So it was never going to stick. It was never going to hold.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing seeing what happened to them. So now I'm left with the unpleasant job of having to row us back to seriousness, okay? Which I'm going to do. I apologize. But I feel that there is a stock falling. And here's what's crazy. I don't have to change my stock falling that was already saved from the last instant reaction. If your name's not Leo Trossard, you're on my list. The left-sided attackers. It's not good enough. Leo was playing at an insanely high level, and it never occurred to me that Leo missing for a little while might hurt us, because look at all the people we have there. But Nani, off the left, at least for the brief time we saw him, not super convincing there. Martinelli, again, I mean, I don't want to sit here and say it's like a terrible performance. That's unfair. He missed a decent chance where I think he blasted over, but like he's not the only one who missed a chance. Obviously, Saka did. Marino slid when he had the chance. There were a few little missed opportunities. But it wasn't great. It wasn't great. And I have to say the body language, I know this is, I hate doing this. So I admit I don't like it. But I thought the Martinelli body language was weird. He wasn't racing back defensively like we usually see him sprinting back. There was jogging. He got into a bit of a tete-a-tete with Rice at one point where Rice was like, what are you doing? Why aren't you going over here? And they got into it with each other, which was a little weird. And then Eza moved over there and he wasn't great. He wasn't great. I mean, you could see a little bit of extra trickiness. There was a moment, the moment where Rice almost plays it into Nani. I think Eza does really well in that moment. But we are seeing with Eza, it's funny, when we did a pod for patrons, for you lovely people, if you remember, you guys, with the Palace representative, and he said the thing that's going to drive you nuts about Eze is on the days when he's on it, he's going to be incredible. But there'll be days when he's not on it and nothing's coming off, and he's just either going to be a passenger, it's going to be frustrating. And that really has been him. You know, he's not a consistent level player necessarily, but the point is, from the left, no one's looked as good as Leo. Now, I want to ask you something, Phil, actually, because it felt to me like they had Martinelli playing more Leo-esque tonight. He was more central, sometimes dropping deeper. He was, inside the half space or central area of the pitch more than just isolated out on the wing. And I thought that was really interesting. I like that. I think he's a better player arriving in the box from central locations, but it just didn't come off. So you can address my left-sided attacker stock falling, or, if you want to, maybe weave something in there about whether you saw a change in the way Martinelli was positioning himself.
He definitely played a slightly different role today. And I think we needed to do that because with Brentford playing a back five, his ability to run in behind was basically zero. He had Michael Coyote over there. He had Christopher Raya. And even then, if he gets past either of those or both of them, Ethan Pinnock's there to cover. So breaking down a back five is extremely difficult. And I think when you do face this prospect, Brentford are a good team. I thought they were good tonight, by the way. Obviously, it was nervy because we feel that anxiety at not winning by a bigger margin. But Brentford, they came to press, they came to play. They had two quick players up front. I think they showed a lot more adventure than a lot of the teams that we've played at home this season. But breaking down a back five is very difficult. So we needed to mix things up a little bit. And that meant rotations, people playing in areas they wouldn't normally be playing in. We saw Calafiori popping up as a centre forward to combine with Ben White at times and Madueke. We saw Marino dropping deep to kind of be a number 6 or a number 8 again at times today. There were other moments when Martinelli was shooting from the edge of the box in more central areas. So, yes, I don't think he was at his best, but I think he was worse at Chelsea. And it's always difficult when you're coming back from injury. We're having to timeshare this role because Leo, who was the number 1 candidate, is out. Hopefully he's back for Saturday. Same with Saliba. I really, really hope. But in terms of effectiveness, I think Madueke was much more effective as a winger and as a threat. Madueke just ran out of steam, I think, in the second half, but he was beating his man. He was taking on people. He was shooting. And I think Martinelli, just at the moment, if he's not coming on as an impact sub with fresh legs and energy to burn, he's very easy to stop. And he's very easy to mark out of a game. And, maybe he just needs a couple of weeks to kind of lose that rust. But maybe his role in the squad moving forward should be a impact sub as opposed to someone who's going to get it going from minute 1.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know we sometimes say someone's better suited for Champions League than the league, and you could be like, well, why is that? It's just football. I do think Champions League games just tend to have more space, and more space in behind in particular, and more ability to run at players, and you're going to get fouls more easily if you go to ground, whereas like the space is more compressed in the Premier League. I do think there's just more pressing and counter-pressing, and I don't think you're going to get a foul if you just go down under a light challenge. I don't know. Some players just look better in European competition. Paul, do you think it's a bit harsh? I mean, I'll say that Madueke, it's funny because I didn't know what to do with Madueke tonight because I had him as a huge stock rising in some respects. He's so direct. He's so effective getting into the box. You do want him to do something good with it once he gets there. Now, he's very involved in the goal. He had great understanding with White in the first half. But man, oh man, once he gets into those good, like here's the funny thing: Martinelli will get isolated 1v1 and not beat his man and get into a good position. That's frustrating. Nani will get into a good position 1v1 with his man, beat his man, get into the box, and do nothing with it. It's just different sides of a coin, I guess.
Yeah, well, I was encouraged in many ways by Madueke. It wasn't a brilliant game from him, but he did Madueke things, so that's still. And he had some very clever moments. He had a really good 1v1, put him through on goal. Could have done a little better, but did well. Good combinations. A very clever back heel flick, wasn't it? That was the same play that he played it to White, who banged in the cross for the goal. So you can't take that away from him. So there was there was actually some really good understanding on the right hand side, and I think we got to be careful a little bit with Madueke because his superpower is to beat a guy and hit the cut back into the box or square ball into the box, and that's down to other players making the runs more often. And so you can't hammer him too hard on that. That's who he is. So, he didn't have a brilliant game, but I thought, given first game back with the start, I thought it was encouraging, and I definitely have more up than down with Martinelli because let me put it another way: he was poor against Chelsea, so this for me was verging on stock rising territory. Not because he was great, but because he was a mixed bag. There was some good things. It was a little more open play, so they didn't have him pinned down on his wing. He got kind of into the central areas. He had promising moments. He did some good things, but look, it wasn't great. So I wouldn't go to war over it. But I thought it was a mixed bag. It doesn't allay my fears that we're going to see more of the Martinelli that we don't want starting 90 minutes, but we do want coming on 70 minutes. I think we're all on the same page. Maybe right now he's an impact sub and a really, really good impact sub.
Yeah.
And running in behind. It should have been a game for him in one sense. Like, okay, back five is going to quash this a bit. But with Marino dropping in, with Odegaard dropping deeper, Madueke is not a run in behind guy. And I think Martinelli did his best to run in behind, and we needed some of that, but he was running in behind against three centre backs. So I thought he did okay-ish, had some reasonable moments, could have done better, could have had more end product, but wasn't. It was a game that gave him more opportunity to do things, and he did a bit more, but not enough.
Yeah, and just as a final point, I'll say this. I had Odegaard initially maybe on my stock falling list, and then I realized that's stupid. This is a guy who's just back after a long absence, playing his first 90 in the Premier League. Like, it's funny. Stock rising Martin Odegaard in the middle third, the way he brings the ball forward for us, because someone's got to do that job. And especially without Saliba and Gabby, who's going to do it. It's just he looks so safe right now with his passing and hesitant to play first time to the runners in behind, first time 1-2s. He's taking that extra touch, and I'm willing to give him the grace that tempo and that timing is going to take some time for him to get back. The pace of the game takes time to get to. But Phil, we'll get out of here. We're going a long time. But just on that, is that a fair observation that he's still so important in our ball progression, of course, but the safety with which he's playing right now, the extra touches in and around the final third, that's got to sharpen up. That's got to quicken up.
For sure. I mean, that's quite clear in my eyes. I just think we're in difficult territory with a lot of these players coming back from injury, because even a week out can put you behind, right? The game is so quick. The game is so intense. The game is so physical. There's no way you can be at that level on your first start. Even if we were playing the worst team in the league today, I would be expecting some rust on Odegaard, just like I'm expecting rust on Victor Gyökeres, just like I'm expecting rust on Martinelli, Madueke, Saliba when he comes back. We don't know what's going to happen to Mosquera, but all of these guys, even a week out can ruin your rhythm. And I think with Odegaard, for me, yes, he's being a bit safe, but I just need him to be available. It doesn't matter to me if he's playing 10 out of 10 every week and assisting people and dinking Saka in behind and combining beautifully with other players. It just needs to be about him finding a rhythm again and just being available, because we need options. We need options, and we're not going to win anything if every week we're making 2 changes in a game because people are injured.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm really tired. I'm really tired of this.
I'll let you know.
I'm worried about that more than any other team.
Yeah, it is the case that if you tell me Arsenal's injury problems will clear up, I have no concerns about us winning the title whatsoever. None. It is the case that chopping and changing constantly and having to make subs in game because of injuries is not long-term sustainable, no matter how good your squad is. I will tell you that Mikel spoke on Declan Rice and said, we still have to see, we've got to examine him. He could walk, but he was unable to play. So he said, we're concerned, but we'll see. He's going to keep his cards close to the vest with a date with Unai at Villa Park. By the way, Villa kind of the form team in the league right now. Not necessarily.
Why do we always play them when they're flying?
Well, I'll just say this: they're the form team with the results, but this is a very Unai run, like when Unai went on his run with us, where the underlying suggests it's not all as great. And by the way, they conceded 3 goals today. Like it is the case that no matter how anxious you want to be about us, City 5-4, Villa 4-3, Liverpool drew at home to Sunderland, should have lost at the death. Chelsea lost to Leeds badly. Right? You look around the league and you see we're the one team that looks really competent day in, day out. So it's all systems go for us. So I think we should leave it there. This is an awfully long one. We will have a main pod tomorrow, though. We love you. Phil, thanks for hopping on this. And I am going to see you less than a week from now in Belgium. I will have to probably drink beer. I know it is not really my thing, but when in Belgium, you drink beer.
Which one of you is going to
as well?
Yeah, which one of you is going to assassinate the other one?
Oh, in Bruges?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can guess. I think we can guess. Do you think it's the young guy who's got like a foot of height over me, or do you think it's the little scrappy dude, the little old scrappy dude? You decide. Paul, thank you.
Woohoo!
Main pod tomorrow, Friday night, Clive on Friday. And then a big celebratory IR when we stuff it down Unai's throat on Saturday, bright and early, 6:30 kickoff for me. Can't wait for that alarm to go off. We love you, everybody. And we will talk to you after Arsenal 10, Villanova.